Hello everyone, Recabilly here. Today we're going to be talking about something a little creepy, so if you don't like creepy stories, I suggest leaving now. This story, however, is 100% true because it happened to me. And I can tell you guys the entire story. I'll have to fix that later. I'll tell you guys the entire story of what happened. And whether you believe me or not is up to you, because it is definitely something that is a little bit unbelievable. Now as an adult, I can't even believe it happened, but I was old enough to know for sure that it did happen. I was old enough. Alright, so I do not know exactly whether or not I was bothered by ghosts or aliens, but something in my life was bothering me for a long time. Something that would scare me at nights. My earliest memory was seeing little creatures inside my bedroom, and they were kind of like tugging at my blankets. But I was a child, and they didn't scare me because they looked like they were also children. But the one that did scare me was the adult that stood in the doorway and stared at me and watched what looked like their kids playing with me. It was just a creature. It did not look like an alien. It didn't look like a human. It just looked like a creature. And I could only see part of it. And what's really creepy about this whole thing is that my sister actually saw the exact same thing. And we didn't know this about each other, but we were talking about it. And then we found out, yeah, we saw the exact same thing happen. So it's pretty weird in that sense. But that's not it. That is not the scariest moments. Because back then, even though that one creature was scary, it didn't like try to harm us or anything. Something tried to harm me. And this is the scariest moment of my life, I think. So, like I said, I've been bothered before. I've had experiences with the paranormal and or aliens. I'm not even sure what it could be. I've had my personal experiences. Again, whether or not you believe me is totally up to you. I understand completely if you don't believe me. Alright, so something was in my room one night. I was trying to go to sleep, and well, actually I was asleep. Let me explain the story correctly. I was asleep. I was fully asleep, and suddenly I just wake up and I feel like somebody's in the room staring at me. And I've felt like that before, and it's always scared me, but for some reason this one time felt like something really not good. Really bad was just inside the room. It just felt like pure evil. And I was terrified without even like getting up, looking around, or doing anything. I just instantly was terrified. I look around the room and I don't see anything, but I do notice that this one corner in particular of the room is a lot darker than it normally is. I don't really pay anything too much to it, but I do notice it, and I think to myself, okay, alright, I'm just imagining things, because you know that's what parents tell you. They're like, okay, you're imagining it, it's all in your head, just ignore it, think good thoughts and try to go to sleep. And you know that definitely worked sometimes, except for this time. I closed my eyes and I covered myself with the blanket, and I covered my head, because that's what you do when you're a kid. You cover your head when you're scared with the blanket. And I started thinking good thoughts, and I was like, all right, let's think about today. What did I do today? And I'm talking to myself, just trying to stay calm. And then from the corner that I hear, or that I saw like a darkness in, I hear footsteps start walking around the corner, and they're walking towards my bed. So I clench all corners of my blanket, and I'm just holding it down, and I'm telling myself, it's not real, it's fake, this is in your head, just go to sleep, calm down, relax. And I sat there And one of the things that I was told to do during scary situations is count and try to relax. So I started counting. And I counted to such a high number. I don't remember exactly what the number was, but I knew that it was at least 10 minutes in after counting. And I was holding my breath for a long time. I was trying to breathe very slowly so that my breathing wouldn't be heard in case something was in the room. I just wanted to stay quiet. I didn't want to have to worry about anything. I was just trying to go back to sleep. So 10 minutes, maybe even more than 10 minutes, but some time passes by, and I finally am like, okay, I can relax. So I exhale, and I let out all the air that I was holding in. And immediately, my blanket covers fly up in the air, and a hand or something grabs the side of my body. Like, I'm just going to show you guys in F5 mode. It grabs me right here, and it's hanging on, and I'm pushing it away, and I can feel it with my hands. I'm hitting it, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs that, I'm screaming, Mom, or I'm screaming, yeah, I'm just regular scream. I don't even remember exactly what I was screaming, but it was not letting go, and it was hanging on for a good few seconds until finally my mother runs in. I hear her open her door. It's still hanging on. As soon as my mom opens my door, it lets go. She turns on the light. Nothing is there. Absolutely nothing is there. And I just got up and I ran to her room, and she stayed inside my room. And like I was old enough to remember, and I'll tell you exactly how old I was. I was 14 years old when this happened. That is definitely old enough to remember. I was 14 years old, and I was grabbed in my sleep, or while I was trying to sleep, by some unknown creature or demon, or doesn't even matter. Something grabbed me and held on. And my side was red. No handprint or anything, but it was red. And my mother, like I said, she stayed inside the room, and she did something that I'll never forget. Because up to this point, she never really believed me. She was always telling me that, it's in your head. Just try to calm down and go to sleep. So that's what I would try to do. I'd try to calm down, go to sleep, and convince myself like nothing is actually happening. Just go to sleep. It's in your head. So finally, on this day, something about this specific moment, and I guess my age, how old I was, like finally convinced her, something is actually going on here. She stayed in the room and she yelled at whatever it was. She said, "Get out of my house. Stay away from my family. Stay away from my son. If you're ever here again, I will hunt you down." And this is my mom talking to whatever it is, a demon, an alien, a creature, like some sort of ghost. Who cares? My mom being complete badass right now. And she's saying, like, if you stay in this house, you better pay rent. And now, like, after the fact, I think it's pretty funny. But during the moment, like, when she was actually saying it, it was very, very helpful and needed. I was terrified, and I was just attacked by something. And when your kid is attacked, it doesn't matter if you believe in paranormal or not, but when your kid is screaming for their life because they feel like they're gonna die from something they believe is holding on to them, you go in there and you protect your kid no matter what. You don't just go in there and say, "Listen, you're faking. You're not actually feeling or seeing anything. This is all in your head." No, as soon as that kid is in danger and you feel like your kid is in danger, you do whatever it takes, regardless of your beliefs. You do whatever it takes to protect them. And at that point, that's what my mother did, and I'll never forget it. It was definitely the scariest moment of my life, and to this day, I still remember that dark corner. I still remember every single aspect of that night. Being able to feel that grip on my side, completely terrifying. And you know what? It was that house. Because as soon as I moved out, as soon as we went to an apartment during my parents' divorce, nothing. As soon as I moved out as an adult, Nothing. But now whenever I go there and visit at night, there's always something going on in that house. For some reason, my mother's room is so safe though. When I was in there that night, um, hiding away, and she was in my room yelling at whatever it was, I was in there and I would look up at the ceiling and I swear to you, I saw like a white ring. And I always felt safe and I always saw that white ring inside my mother's room. And I just felt safe in there. And I can't explain what the white ring was, but I remember when I was very, very young and I was scared at night, I would go and sleep in her bed and she would always leave the door open. I'm not really sure why anybody would leave a door open, but she would leave the door open and I was scared and I would look out into the hallway and I can see whatever those creatures were that were kind of bothering me at night. I can see things moving out there. And but inside the room, inside my mother's room, was like completely free of whatever it was, even though it was just as dark. The only thing that wasn't dark was the ceiling that seemed to have like a white glow. I don't know what it was. I don't really care, honestly. All I do care about is how much it really made me feel safe and how safe I actually was inside that room. There have been other stories, or not other stories, but other instances of things that happened between me and my sister. Like there's one time where we were also older, much older. It's probably like 16 or 17 and she was already like, 20. And she was like, "What were you doing last night?" And I said, "Nothing." "Why?" She's like, "Well, I heard you walking around all night. You were up in like 1 a.m. I couldn't sleep and all I heard was your footsteps in the room." "I wasn't up last night." And we just stared at each other. And it's been moments like that. Like this is not the first time it happened either. And there's multiple times. Like there's a good ghost, we think, that lives inside the house. And there's also bad things that exist. For instance, there's one that we like to call Dennis. And we talk to it sometimes because he likes to mess with us and close doors and turn on lights and stuff. And my mom, she was like, "Dennis doesn't mess with me. He knows that I'm too tough, that I can take him down." Like, and she's like being all like proud and tough with against this ghost. And it's she's just being funny, talking to like a bunch of friends who don't really believe what we're saying. Suddenly, the microwave turns on by itself, and my mom starts laughing, and she said, "Okay, Dennis," and she tries to turn it off. It's not turning off. "All right, Dennis, that's enough." It did not turn off until the point that they unplugged it. It's never malfunctioned before that, and it's never malfunctioned after that. So I don't care if you believe it or not. This is all stuff that's actually happened to us in our house. So feel free to deny, feel free to disbelieve. I don't care. But take it or leave it. This is what happened, and this is my story. Growing up in paranormal is just kind of like a natural, normal thing for me, and it's hard for me to understand, or it was actually hard for me to understand why people didn't believe. Like me growing up, I felt like it was so damn obvious that there's paranormals, but now as an adult, I live in a house where nothing happens, so I can completely understand why nobody, or why somebody would completely disagree or say, "No, there's definitely nothing." If I lived in this house that I live in now, while I was growing up, then I wouldn't believe in paranormal either, because nothing happens here. It's so quiet. It's so peaceful. I can walk around middle of the night, do absolutely whatever I want and not be afraid. But at my mother's house, for some reason, walking in the middle of the night, you feel like somebody's behind you all the time. And weird things like the microwave turning on happen. Doors closing on their own happen. When there's like windows, all the windows are closed, nothing, no airflow. Suddenly a door slams down the hallway. Like that kind of stuff it just became normal in my house. And I could not believe that other people didn't believe in ghosts or aliens or whatever it was. It's still hard for me to believe, but now I kind of understand, because this house is just so safe. It's so free of that. It really does kind of stick to the house, which is really weird. But I'm gonna end the video here. I know it was kind of a long one. I need to start editing videos so I can go to work. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you've had any experiences yourself, and I'd like to talk about it in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next one. Remember, folks, if you have a subject you'd like me to talk about, feel free to let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to get to it, because there are times when I've run out of topics. But this one in particular was a very important one to me, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Hello everyone, Recabilly here, and welcome to another CSGO Overwatch demo review. I need to fix my mic. That's better. Alright, so here we are with our suspect on Dust 2. Is probably the meanest thing that I've ever had to do. And it's pretty harsh. And I cannot, like, now that I'm older, I can't believe it actually happened, but it is something that I had to do. A lot of people, like, they don't believe that